What have you always done, but later found out was gross? As an Asian, I was always taught growing up to throw used toilet paper in the trash bin. It wasn't until I went on a school trip to Italy the chaperone mentioned to everyone the plumbing system here isn't as good as the USA, so you guys are just gonna have to throw it in the trash bin. And everyone went ew. And that's when I learned that it was gross to throw toilet paper in the trash bin, since the issue was you're basically having shitbits sitting around in a bin. All my life I wiped my toothbrush on the hand towel to dry it up until my sister asked what the fuck I was doing. When I was like 5 or 6 years old, I would love going to the grocery store with my mom because the vegetable and fruit and meat tables always had the best ice to chew on. As a child, I would dig up bits of clay from the local sandbox. It wasn't as good as Play-Doh, so I would cast it aside and continue digging. Maybe I didn't have a very good sense of smell at that age, because I was well into adulthood before I realized it was probably cat shit. Not washing behind ears. Looks like the better question would have been, how often do you change your bed sheets? I flushed my tampons my whole life until I was about 30. No one had taught me they weren't flushable. I stupidly thought they were like toilet paper. One expensive and embarrassing plumbing problem later. I never did it again. Not washing newly purchased clothing items. I used to really like those self-service lollies candy buckets with the scoops. They were in most big box stores in Australia, like Kmart, Target, Big W. So much fun mixing and matching. But then one day I started working at Target. Every single day I caught old people and kids with their hands directly inside, grabbing them out and munching down all slobbery like. Turned me off forever. Though not too long after they started disappearing from businesses, so obviously someone got the unsanitary message. Chewing on fingernails. Haven't done it in decades, but once upon a time. I pick my nose privately, then wash my hands. I just can't deal with a clogged nose. My fingers work better than a tissue ever could. Not brushing my teeth when I wake up. I would only brush my teeth after breakfast. And I would rarely eat breakfast, so most days I would only brush my teeth at night. I figured, well, I brushed last night and haven't eaten anything since, so why should I brush again? Then I learned about all the bacteria that feed on the tiny bits of food left in your teeth, and they literally expel gas and feces in your mouth as they consume it. And this is what causes awful morning breath. So I have this mental image of bacteria poop and farts coating my mouth, and have brushed every morning since, regardless of eating breakfast or not. Showered in a dirty tub. Once I discovered how gross it really was. My hoarder mother didn't like it when I cleaned the bathroom, so I just lived with it till I was able to get a place. I use my earring to scrape out the muck from under my nails, then put the earring back in my ear. Used to pluck my eyebrows on public transport. So sorry to anyone who got those sticky little living hair follicles stuck to their clothes and skin. I didn't use to close the lid on the toilet before flushing. Oh, the sharticles. After reading these comments, I have realized I'm just a disgusting human being. Wait until a towel smelled weird to swap it out. Eating snow. Just take the same handful of snow you might see a kid stuff in their mouth and let it melt in a glass. Bet you wouldn't willingly drink it. I love to eat the crispy, crunchy white yucca flowers from my yard. I ate them for years before discovering there are tiny little white waxy worms that live in the flowers and blend in. I eat other bugs and worms and stuff, but not raw. So I started to wash them out of the flowers before I ate them. I learned the flowers are nowhere near as nutty and crunchy and delicious without the worms. So now I leave them in. I'm suffering from hair loss at the moment and I'm often absent-mindedly raking a hand through my long hair, glancing at what comes out and then dropping the strands on the floor. Just read on another sub that that's pretty disgusting to other people. My own defense. I work exclusively from home in my own small office and would never do it in public. But even so, maybe my husband thinks I'm gross. Put eggshells back in the carton. Didn't know it was gross because I saw my mother always do it. I can't believe it took me until last year to realize the error of my ways. I was taught to wash my sheets once a month. Realized you're supposed to do it way more. I'm surprised to not see this here wearing shoes inside. My family was not a shoes-off family and they always wore outside shoes inside. I remember a few friends' homes were strict shoes-off homes, but I thought that was the minority. I was about 27 years old before I realized it was disgusting and people were definitely judging my etiquette. That meme where the guy is scrubbing his crack with the bar of soap. I did that until a girlfriend caught me in my late 20s. Damn Redditors are gross. I was in my late teens before I learned you're supposed to wipe front to back, not back to front. I was like, damn, and started doing it the right way. I could never get a good clean front to back. I figured I just needed practice, but I did it for 6 months and it never improved. I went back to the way I've always done it. I've never had a yeast infection or UTI. IDK how far you guys are wiping, but I don't have an issue keeping the shit out of vagina. I sit on my couch butt naked when I'm alone watching TV at night. I mean, I'm relatively clean, but I feel sorry for anyone else that sits there. Not me. But my ex would always flush mid-pee. I never understood it and found it repulsive. If his pee lasted longer than the flush, he would just flush again. Whenever I would ask why he does that, he just said he's always done it. All I could think of is how much stuff would fly up on his hands and genitals. Even after showing him countless studies about what flies up when a toilet flushes, he would never stop that weird habit. I am 66 yo and only learned a week ago that you are supposed to floss first then brush your teeth. I saw something on Reddit about this. I asked my family 3 adult kids' husband. They all knew to floss first, brush second. Why didn't anyone tell me? They just thought what I did was weird but never mentioned it. I used to take shits. Would wipe for a bit. But if it was taking too long I would just stuff a wad of TP in my butt crack and deal with it later. Edit running late this morning. Might have to wad it up today. Pee in the shower. Shave over the toilet. Let my dogs sleep in the bed with me. I still do it, but I've been told those are all gross. Double dipping snacks. Pretty logical, but only found out recently that's very bad etiquette. Left dishes out in my room. Until I got freaked out at seeing ants everywhere. Then I always put away dishes after finishing. Using a loofah because you don't wash it like washcloths. As a dude, standing up to pee. Seriously. The stuff sprays everywhere. We got one of those flashlights made for highlighting pet urine on carpet. And out of curiosity I shined around in the bathroom. It's everywhere. Gentlemen, it's really gross what we're exposing the women in our lives to. We're not talking about truck stops or rest areas, but the bathrooms of those we know and love. Sit down. It won't emasculate you. I chewed with my mouth open for decades. Never take out my contact lenses. I still do this, but removing my ingrown toenails at home and giving them a whiff. Exhilarating and exhausting at the same time. Wiping from back to front.